Hi Zan, thanks for taking the time to make this course for us. Would you please introduce yourself to those who don't know you?
Sure. I'm Zan Perrion, and I am the founder of the Ars philosophy and author of the book, The Alabaster Girl, which I encourage everybody to buy and read. And and I've been doing it for a long time. Ars Enlightened Seduction before that, so doing this a long time.
And for this course, we're talking about the non-approach approach. Can you briefly describe what is the non-approach approach?
Okay. The Ars Amrata non-approach approach is a way to interact with the world, with the women of the world, in a way that releases the pressure and allows, and it's more natural, and it's more effective, and it's more along the lines of what the real great ladies' men of history have. It's their way of interacting with women. So we'll describe it later as we get into it, but it's I think it's the most effective way, and it's an eye-opening experience when guys first hear it and they think, wow, this is what I have to do, as opposed to some of the other things and some of the other ways.
Okay. And I'm sure there are some guys who've struggled with approach anxiety for many years.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the guys that, is this only for advanced people, or is this possible for anyone to get over?
I think this is fantastic for every level. The guy who's just starting out and trying to understand his role in the land of women, or for guys who are on any level. I really think it's like, I'm convinced it's the key that most people don't understand, and it's like it's much more simple than we think. It's far more simple than we think, and anybody can learn it. Anybody can understand the concept of it, and will immediately see an impact in their life for sure.
And have you taught this to many people in the past, and seen, what have you seen when you've taught this to them?
Well, I'll tell you, what's interesting is that I have taught this for years and years and years, from the very beginning. And yet guys, the guys will doubt it. And so they'll say, yeah, okay, yeah. But then they will go out there and they just can't help but put themselves into the invasive mode. And because they think they have to. So there's a lot of it's a lot of retraining the brain, I guess you could say, or rewiring the circuits of the brain, because it's so ingrained in us that we have to be this binary approach machine.
Okay. And just to close off this video, can you give guys a personal story of you, because of where you started, and if you had approach anxiety, and how you kind of came over it?
Yeah, I will say this. I mean, like, a lot of the guys have heard my story, but I'll say very quickly that when I was in my late teens and my early 20s, I was massively, and I mean massively, insecure and needy, and begging a girl's affection, and little poems and flowers, and the typical nice guy. I was 100% that. And I was so, I would go out to the bar, for instance, when I was like 21 or something, and I didn't have a wingman with me. I would be by myself, but I would go out there, and I would lean against the bar and try and look cool. But there's no way, I was too nervous. There's no way I was going to go talk to that girl over there. There's not a chance in the world. So I would basically just kind of stay there and wait for something to happen. And I think, there's guys out there who pride themselves by saying, well, I've done 1,000 approaches. And there's actually, I think, instruction out there, go do 1,000 approaches so you get the rhythm of it and you get the feel of it. But what's missing in that, and maybe you get it after 1,000 approaches, I don't know, is the intuition of the calibration of reading her, of reading that signals and subcommunicated, you're bothering me, or I'm just not interested, but I'm being sweet, I'm being polite. That kind of like signals that women give to a guy who's approaching. So I was, in fact, the truth is, I mean, like this whole non-approach approach I've been doing for years. That's what I haven't approached 1,000 girls. That's not something that I've, machine gun tried to do. Was developed because of my lack of instruction and lack of confidence, my insecurity of it. And by naturally starting to feel the rhythm and starting to observe how the social dynamics of a room works, which that's all I studied my entire life. Social dynamics, watching this, this man is going to approach this girl and at a party or a club or something like that, and just observing the dynamic of the scene. And I've become massively adept at understanding what's going on. I can feel, I can smell what's happening even behind me.